Arctic cross a river. First impressions was Goldshire, simply because of the map layout, but then on closer inspection, the bottom right has a player, and the bottom left has a player. Goldshire is this 2v2 map, which is a lot smaller than it looks. It has like a tavern in the middle. This one has a marketplace, and you kind of have 2 players, like one here, versus 2 players, one here kind of deal. And they got these like trees in between them that kind of makes it so that they're a little bit further apart, but they're still kind of close together. But this is interesting. The spawn positions are very expansive and opposing. It's almost like magnets, like repelling one another, because you've only got this one path that I can tell that goes towards the middle for each player. So each player is going to have some relatively easy creeping to do. If you want to get to this green camp, okay, I thought you had to go through the trees here, but that's an alternative route. I see what the creator was trying to do here is like a backdoor strategy. If you had like a flame strike with the blood mage, you could flame strike and hit from behind, or you could get a bunch of mortar teams and flame strike here, leave these trees alive, and just absolutely decimate it if you got a gyrocopter over the top for vision. So if there's a human player over 9,000, I just gave you a strategy idea there. Oh, to get through the middle, you've got to go through these. I love it when these people create melee maps. They just have fun with it, don't they? They remind me of what I used to do in Warcraft 2, because I'm older, so I used to use Warcraft 2 for my melee making. And yeah, I would just spam a whole bunch of ridiculous like units and ogres in one place. It didn't make any sense, but that's just what I did. But if you oh, that's kind of nasty. It's not impossible though. It's not impossible. You might still be able to do that, and that's really good experience. 2 level 5s and 2 level 4s. If that was an ogre lord, this would be really difficult, but you got poison wearing off on you all the time there, Will. So Will's our human player. He might be able to take down one of these. He's got some good micro going there. He needs to bring in like another 5 militia, I would say, to repair this. That's what I would do, is I would send those 4 back and then reissue like 5 from the gold mine or something, just temporarily. He's doing well though, considering how awkward that creep camp is. 9,000 going for the easier green camp. Ember finishing off his green camp. And Babeu waiting for his Death Knight, because undead are slow. Archmage, I would just back out of this, recoup, and think about what you've done. He's going to lose it, hero. The peasant block. Will we unban Will? He did so well. He just needed to escape a little bit earlier. He did what he could. It's a case of recognizing, okay, I've done some damage here. I've done about as much as I can. There's not much else I can get out of this. One of them's dead. That might look like you've not done much, but if you come back with another 5 militia and 1 more water elemental and 1 footman, you could probably finish the rest of that creep camp and be fine. And make sure you get yourself the shop to heal with, and then you would have got a lot of experience. But going for the smaller creep... Oh, look at that. That's kind of nice and RP-ish. 2 bridges, one next to each other. One of them should just fall as the player walks over it with their units, and then they lose everything. Just for RP's sake. Baboo moving up to level 2. No shredder yet. Wheels coming in once again. 2 footmen, Archmage, Water Elemental is available. And he's got 5 militia. This shouldn't be a problem now. Just take a moment, relax, and deal with this situation. Level 2 Archmage, so he could still catch up with the other players, because you can see 9,000's still level 1. He'll be level 2 shortly, but just doing this 1 creep camp here, and it secures an expansion. Provides quite a lot of value. Oh, damn! Each player has different gold mine. Oh yeah, Inferno Stone. That's pretty nice. He could finish the game right now. Each player has different creeps at their expansions, so this really is quite RP themed, isn't it? So this is the frozen area. It's got dire mammoths and such. That's more of a dungeony looking area, so it has those faceless terrors. This is probably don't know this is the easiest. It's like these sea turtles in Turtle Rock. The one big guy will always focus your lowest health unit and the other two won't. They'll just be annoying. So, playing 2 versus 2 here. I think Will and Baboo are on the same team. Maybe not, actually. No. Let's find out. Otherwise, why is Will going this way? Walking right in. That's not something a friend would do. That's some nasty harass. He's also got the Inferno Stone, so this is where it gets really nasty for Baboo. Because he's not exactly in the strongest shape to defend versus this, but he's going to try. And then he's going to get an Inferno Stone in his face. Oh, look at that Inferno Stone right there. Ooh. Hang on! They both got Inferno Stones! Battle of the Infernals. Okay, so we've got Ember coming in to defend as well. So that's definitely going to repel off this attack from Will. And both Infernal Stones have been used. Watch out, ba-bang! The Inferno might get you. Let's try to surround it and get the experience on killing it. If you can. Well, actually it's the wrong one. It's kind of hard to tell. 9,000 go for a sensible double Sanctum build. Altar. Producing Archmage to provide Brilliance Aura, most likely for the Paladin. Ember's putting down Ancient of Wonders here. I don't think he actually managed to create this. This was the hardest one to do, I think. That level 8 Faceless Terror was ridiculous. At least you can move through here at night time. But that's about the only time. A lot of gold here for Will. A Shredder would be a treat, but the creep camp hasn't been finished. The Infernal should definitely help you creep the middle, so I would suggest doing that. Unless you really want to go back and get that Shredder. Baboo is out for revenge. He's got a Death Knight with 157 mana and level 2 coil. I don't think that's enough to kill the Archmage. Well, actually, I think it is actually. But the Archmage might be able to just pick up some nice potion. Maybe not actually. No, he's got blood on his mind. Arcane Tower's quite far away, so he's TPing out to his expansion. Baboo might think he's TPing to his ally, but he was facing left when he was TPing. So most of the time, at least almost all the time, your character should be TPing in the direction that they're... Well, the direction that they're facing is where they're TPing to. But his Infernal still stands, Baboo's. And that's much more effective versus human peasants and militia. Yeah, try to run it out. You still got some life left on it. Or just be annoying versus the Archmage. Okay, Ember actually managed to clear this. With a decent chunk of range units. Picks up Kellen's Dagger of Escape and Orb of Darkness. So, interestingly, he didn't get like the Inferno Stone. Which is really bizarre because the creep item drops don't make any sense. This is not a charged item. This is a permanent item. The Inferno Stone is a charged item. But then again, there's no symmetricality when it comes to the units anyway. So I guess that makes sense that there's no symmetricality in the item drops. Or the item type of drops. Mass range, always very good at creeping melee creatures from a large distance. That's the leash distance. You can do so much damage and take so little. When you really think about it, he's taken, what, about 150 damage there in total. And he's got to slaughter. Did you pick up a second what did you pick up? Claws of Attack, 15 there. 9 and 6. I'll tell you what, if Baboo gets a Lich soon... That will be devastating. All of those Claws of Attack on a Lich. Yeah, plus for Claws on the Death Knight, it's the worst because the Death Knight has like the most terrible attack speed, but on a Lich, very good. Also, Alaria's Flute of Accuracy. You definitely want that item. Staff of Silence is insane as well. Mostly if you're fighting versus undead or just anyone that has a strong combo. So Mountain King and Paladin, like bolt heal kind of thing. Silencing that is very useful. I hope one of you took the Flute of Accuracy. Yeah, the Death Knight did. The coil from off the screen says no to the footman. So, we have 3 players, well, all players have an expansion now, but some are a bit more established than others. 9,000. He's got a lot of gold and wood, so he's comfortable with the shredder. Expansion's looking quite cushy, so he's going to be pretty much ready to start whacking out more units, I suspect. Sitting at tier 2 means that he's probably going to put down some casters. Hippo Riders for Ember. This will be quite effective because this map has like this long river in between the players. So the Hippo Riders can probably do quite a lot of hit and run attacks whilst not being punished too much. Very wood heavy here for Will. The Shredder plus all of these peasants foregoing his gold mine. He will be quite susceptible though to Hippo Riders. Oh, that's a clever use of the Zeppelin. 9,000 coming in and doing some awesome harass versus an undead expansion. But I suspect some fiends with web might be available. Yeah, so you got to decide, are you going to TP or do you not even have a TP? Oh, is web not researched? That was a bit of a lucky break. Definitely a little bit. Oh no! Oh no! And the creek camp gets started. You did have a TP though. I'm surprised you just didn't use a TP in the first place. Wow, at least you had the TP, otherwise that was catastrophic. The blue dragons, in my opinion, are the best ones. If you're going to get them. Otherwise, try to get the bronze dragon, because it has splash damage like a chimera. But the blue dragon obviously has splash damage as well, but not quite as powerful. But it's a frost, so you can't really beat frost. The ability to slow down units in this game in melee is so... It is so powerful compared to the other methods and, you know, abilities like poison and that kind of stuff. You know, slow from frost is by far the strongest. And the fact that it splashes as well is crazy. So we've got Will attacking here, so 2 human armies going for the expansions. You know how those human armies love their expansions. Will opting for Dragonhawk Riders, which could be good if there were some Frostworms or something. Griffins from over. So you have either player sort of positioned on opposite sides of the map. Those are the allies on opposite sides. Oh, there's the Dragonhawk Riders. But they're getting a little bit screwed by the Hippo Rider focus. They can't hang in there long enough. Will should recognize that this is not a fight he can win. Teleports out. The Snowy Owl sees everything. Baboo in a bit of a tricky position. Of course, there's a Doom Guard as well. Why not? We've seen Infernals. We can see some Doom Guards too. Baboo backing off. Standard undead army. Very strong. Choosing to opt for abominations. That might work because he's got Hippo Riders as well for range. So just needs to slow the enemy down whilst the Hippo Riders and the Fiends can snipe off the more fragile units and the abominations just take hits for the team.
A player's forces are under attack.
This is the long march. This is starting to look like something out of Game of Thrones. Wheel. Up with the Taverniers. Not heavily contested here by the creeps. Furbolgs don't have that many anti-air characters. But... oh wow, this is a little island as well. I thought there was like a bridge here. So the Dragonhawk... so air is definitely quite strong in this map by the looks of it. So Hippo Riders a good choice for Ember. Dragonhawk Riders, good choice as well for Will. Zeppelin will also do the trick. This, unfortunately, is a lot of pressure on 9,000's expansion. That looks like a very strong army. 9000 is choosing to contest this, but Will's busy over here. He can't... I don't know if he can comfortably TP, because he looks pretty fragile. 9000 needs to let that expansion go in this situation, because... yeah, there's not much... those two look very strong. They've got the auras that provide extra damage for their range units. They've got a multitude of range units, good combinations, good auras. Just does not look like a good fight. The only fight that they can have, Will and... sorry, 9000 is in their main base, really, versus that kind of army. I just missed out on clicking on the Archmage. Just to see what drops. Are we going to sacrifice 9000's entire base for a bit of harass on Ember? It's because they're not ready. Not quite ready yet. So this is a good time and attack from Babu and Ember, because that's a force to be reckoned with. That's a force to finish the game, to be quite frank. That looks really scary. I would not want to fight versus that, unless I had a lot more units. Trade in base for base. That means 9000 needs to teleport out of his base, or at least be in a position where he teleports out if he's forced to. He still wants to kind of be within the vicinity, just in case Will can come over and help him out. But I would suggest buying a TP, walking over here, and just being ready to flee your base or TP out of your base. But don't stand there fighting, because that's just not going to go well for you. 1 versus 2. Oh. Will not able to take this down. Babu patiently waiting for the time to strike after the damage was dealt, and Ember can clear up shop on the top right side. Will the Hippo Riders be enough? The Archmage can still spam out water elementals, and there's a Griffin. But is that enough to really repel the Hippo Riders? Also, Orb of Darkness, providing the skeletons. That will do just a little bit extra DPS. So those Spellbreakers have something else to contest with, not just the air. It looks very bad for 9000. Only if Will can TP over, maybe, and save his buddy before he loses too much. Okay. Checking out the marketplace, the Doom Guard just got bought. So we're going to see another one of those. Orb of Frost. Whew. It's hard to say, man, because, you know, Orb of Frost is really strong when I think that's more powerful. Can I honestly say that it's more powerful than Orb of Corruption, though? It is, really, overall, but Orb of Corruption is just so ridiculously OP. Orb of Lightning is not quite as OP as Orb of Corruption, but it's very good for a fast attacking hero like a Blade Master. So that's where it kind of like becomes good. It's only because the Blade Master can utilize the Orb of Lightning that it's sort of like more even. Orb of Frost is just kind of crazy though.
A player's forces are under attack.
1200 gold, 800 gold, 80 food. 9000's got a lot of repairing to do. Ember's looking relatively good. Expansion's being guarded by a rat. Such a strange little path here. This is the back way, isn't it? The trees have been destroyed. Babu, not sure whether to commit from that side. That's a lot of fiends and abominations. That's a very scary looking army. Will looking a bit more tougher, but not quite in a position to take that unless he has the right position here. Maybe he does. The towers are nearby. The Archmage could hit from range, but Ember's flanking in on the right, the top side there. Griffin's able to whack out quite a lot of DPS to the abominations, but they can't get webbed. Otherwise it's GG for them. Tanks, nice choice here. Very good versus Hippo Riders. It's very hard to maintain Hippo Riders versus tanks. Looks like it's going to be 9000's turn to TP over. There's the Doom Guard. Ah, lovely position. The Hippo Riders almost moving in there, deciding to back off a little bit. The tanks are threatening them. Nice save there on the Mountain King. 9,000 now coming in with mass Griffins. This is looking good. The Doom Guy won't last very long here because he's got heavy armor, so he gets picked off very quickly by the magic damage of the Griffins. Ember focusing down the tanks to keep his Hippo Riders into the fight, so he's slowed down a little bit of his DPS, but if he takes down the tanks, he can now stay in the fight. Babu having to reposition his his Death Knight. His Death King. It looks like last straw here for Team Will and 9,000 as the range domination of Babu and Ember are taking place. Yes! The devastation, the spirit of vengeance. There's still one tank causing some trouble, but it's not enough at this point. That tank will not put out anywhere near enough DPS. Will and 9,000 also don't have an expansion. Bear that in mind. Even if they won this fight, they still might be in trouble because they are lacking the expansion, which means the gold to rebuild their armies. They are doing their darndest to hold up here. This is a bit of a slaughter on this flood. You know, look, it's flooded with blood. This icy snow. Corpses everywhere. 9,000 TPing back to his own base, not slightly over into Will's base. Ember forced back, leaving Babu still able to somewhat compete, but maybe having to choose to run away himself too. Depends how powerful his heroes are. They are pretty powerful. The Lich has those claws of attack, plus 39 damage on the Lich. The Lich himself can just do so much DPS. Still hanging around. Oh yes. Sneaky. Schnecky. 2,000 gold for Babu. He's got to start whacking down some units, and then he can truly finish Will off. 9,000. The human armies. The Hippo Riders, they are back, and they have a Chimera to join in the fun. So that knight is now looking like he regrets coming out of the barracks. He's like, oh cool, at least I can do something versus these fiends. No deal now. Poor Will. This is a siege fest. The attempt to re-establish himself. Maybe a little bit too little too late at this point. Oh. Unfortunately, I can imagine him using that TP. And then he's going to be put further back. Really, he wants to TP down here or something. But I can imagine him, yeah, TPing back to his base. The splash damage from the... just was enough to take out the Archmage there, I think. Okay, this looks really bad for Will now. There's no real backup anymore. Towers are down. Even getting the most perfect position here, I don't think it's going to be enough. That's just too much looking at it. This is where you need to tap out. Paladin cannot be saved. Archmage down for the count, but there was some repercussion for that. The Dreadlord falls too, but then the Mountain King falls underneath the Dreadlord. Well, there it is. I think this map is not going to work really in ladder or anything like that, but it was fun to watch as a one-off. The barrage of range still strong though, supported by the little islands on this map and those narrow pathways. Strange. But, yeah, it kind of worked out. I mean, that was an interesting game to watch, definitely.